because we are so tuned in to the needs of our families and our students and our staff that we have to raise an additional $1 million a year to continue to do the work we do that is beyond just sitting in the classroom and learning math and reading and science and social studies. It is providing social emotional learning, a full-time mental health therapist, buying groceries, making sure families have hotels if they are displaced, helping with therapy services. We pay medical expenses, glasses, things like that. But for us being so small, and it's such a part of who we are, taking care of our community, that we have to fundraise for that.
The first thing I want to say is thank you all for being here. We have parents here today, we have volunteers, we have mentors, we have family members, we have Lead to Read folk, we have friends from the Kansas City Art Institute. There's so many of us here with a commitment to the students at Gordon Parks Elementary School.
I began to think about a couple of artists that I really admire, Natalie Djerberg and Hans Berg, and a project that they did in 2010 where they had built on their subfields of expertise. Natalie Djerberg sculptures, claymation animations of animals and creatures and flora and fauna, and Hans Berg's musical accompaniment. And I thought, of course, students at this age are always thinking about fantastic things and like ways that they can hybridize things that they know with things that they're imagining. So it seemed like a natural progression for them to think about and for us to maybe collaborate with them on.
One color per plate. How many brushes per color? One.
For this project, it started by having to plan what it would look like and figuring out where it would live.
It lives with a bunch of spiders. He's a crocodile and a dragon.
Where does he live?
He lives in a swamp.
Let's see, it has 6 eyes. This is definitely a mythical creature. It was supposed to be mixed with a creature from My Little Pony and a dog.
It's one of the kings of all spiders.
This is made of a box, and this is cardboard.
My mom helped me paint, do the plaster, and build. So pretty much all of it.
With Jack, my 3rd grader, he completed his project with me and then immediately wanted to go and help other people finish their projects, which I think is a learned behavior by us all being there together, helping everybody do the projects. You can see that return happen.
In our community, they worked together and they were helping the kids. And then when there were babies who didn't have a partner, they were taking on 2 or 3 more. And they were just going in and building them. And then to watch our staff, when the big days were over, to stay down there with kids that missed and paint for hours and hours and help construct, just because they knew that that experience was so valuable. They wanted to keep coming back. In fact, after that first day, they were like, okay, so when are we coming back and doing the painting? When are we coming back and doing, when's the next thing? And so that, I think, speaks volumes.
I love seeing how the kids were so creative and they were so hands-on, and it actually made me feel like, okay, I can be creative too.
Oh, it was so cute. A lot of times you're just kind of looking around. A lot of the kids, whether they're going up to getting more paint or just them talking to each other, being like, oh my gosh, I love your project. You're doing such a good job. Just being so amazed and supportive of their friends.
And I think that civil rights, social justice idea is really present in that kind of cooperation. It's very easy to talk about cooperation and empathy, but it's really hard to do it, to practice it. And I think especially for young children, young students, seeing how they might not always get something that they want the first time. They've got to find other ways to do that.
And then put on your gloves last.
The conversations I had with 2nd and 3rd graders, 1st graders, they were not facile conversations. They want to do a specific thing. We were talking and they would ask me well, how are we going to do this thing? I'd be like, yeah, how are we going to do that? Because I didn't know either. And so we'd try something and it wouldn't work, and we'd muddle through it together. So we were learning engineering and creating a vocabulary together, and I feel like that was something that was very inspiring to me.
My favorite part is the painting.
My favorite part was with all the tape because it was so loud. It was actually kind of funny because I've never heard that much tape being torn at the same time. So of course he could shoot out a bunch of webs. So then he could actually blast out some crazy balls. That's part of his powers too. These are the super sharp claws that can cut through titanium. And he's still a baby, so he has no teeth.
Well, it helps its community by using its magic to help build houses or like get supply or get food for the rest of its Alicorn and Pegasus friends.
If you're only thinking about it through the lens of capital or of things that you accomplish at the end of the day, there's an incredible benefit to the imagination of a young student and how they might be envisioning themselves and their friends in their community or their communities in relationship to one another. So those intangible or less easily quantifiable benefits, I think they make their own case for why they have such an incredible use and necessity.
I don't know.
Let's get over right down the inside.
Like right here.
There's a nice some right here.
So as much as we can do to provide for them and for our families, I think is the key, and we can only do that with the help of our supporters.
I think that the premise, the philosophical and emotional premise of the school, this is my interpretation, to support a student who they may need time, and they might not be the ideal version of themselves as a first grader when they're in first grade. With the support that they so clearly receive here, my impression of Gordon Parks is that it's an ecosystem where there are dependent partnerships and contingent things and elements that support retroactively even, or like between classrooms, what each instructor might be trying to encourage. And I think maybe that's it. It's like they're encouraging and teaching through sharing rather than something that is through pressure or in a punitive kind of way. And I think that the students here, because they're also joyful, like they see that. I think it makes a whole individual, and that's something that the Gordon Parks, I think, project has shown me just so up close and in such high resolution this year.